All right, so everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat, and today in Hashem, we're going to be seeing a Torah in Likutey Moharan as a preparation. As Rab Nosson he always advises us to see the Torah that he's drawing from in Likutey Halachas. However, we tried the lesson without. I tried to give a preview of the lesson. However, it's a deep concept, and I think it'll be better for us if we see it, the words of Rabbeinu Zal, directly in Likutey Moharan, and then we'll with Siyata D'Shmaya, we'll understand the Likutey Halachas a little bit better. So here we go. So the Rebbe says, Reish Nun, lesson 250 in Likutey Moharan, the first part. Da. Every time we know we have a Kabbalah, every time the Rebbe starts off with Da, he's telling you something that's Beruach HaKodesh, and he's telling you something from the deepest places. Shekol minei tzar, v'chol ha'isurim, einam rak michesron hadas. Wow. Any kind of difficulty a person has, any kind of obstacle, any kind of problem that a person has, any kind of pain a person has, he's only experiencing that because he has a lack of das, of knowledge. Now, what does that mean? Let's see. Kimi sheyesh le das, because if someone has das, v'yodea shakol b'hashgacha me'Hashem yisbarach, and he understands that no matter what is going on in his life, in her life, in the world, in the neighbor, anywhere, it doesn't matter. It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu's guidance. He's guiding. It's his province. He's guiding that specific thing. Ve'ein lo shum yisurim. That person doesn't have any pain. He doesn't experience it because he understands it's coming directly from Hashem. Ve'ein margish shum tsar. He doesn't feel the pain. He doesn't have any problems. He doesn't have any. He sees everything as great because he understands it's from Hashem. It's hard to. I know this is very hard to understand. You know, the guy stubbed his toe. It hurts. So how do you say it doesn't have tsar? How does he not have tsar? Right?
I mean, that's not hard to understand. It's hard to implement.
Yeah, no. That's right. Because why? He brings from Iyov, Ki Hashem nosan v'Hashem lakach. And this is, unfortunately, this is a very difficult concept. And many times, when people lose children or something, they usually say this, Hashem nosan v'Hashem lakach. No, okay. But again, to live with this cloud, to live with this idea of the das, that it's all Hashem. But even still, there are isurim, and it's behechrech. It's incumbent upon us to margish, to feel them. Kigaini isurim shebayim machmas ha-kova. That's the hakava means the guf and the neshama together. When the guf and the neshama is bound together, that guf and the neshama, that's the hakava. Kimay yisurim sheyeshim yitzias and neshama min haguf. Oh, so what's the deepest pain? The deepest real pain is when a neshama is bound to the guf. It's really bound to the guf. And then the neshama starts to depart from the guf, right? When a person gets sick, HaShem's, right? When a person gets sick, so what's really the pain he's feeling? The Rebbe is going to say, "V'heim yisuri achoyle sheboye machmas shemascheles haneshama lispashit min haguf." So when the person is sick, and he feels the pain, what's the pain that he's really feeling? He's feeling the neshama disconnecting from the guf. Wow. And because it's so bound, it's glued together. You know, it's almost like, maybe we give an example, you know, when you have a Band-Aid that was on your hand for a little while, and then you take it off, and then, boy, does that hurt, right? I know it's a silly example, but there's something to feel that, you know, you can feel that pain when there's something there and you want to take it off. So then you certainly feel the pain when the separation happens. V'afal pichein, hayisurim kalim miyoid v'noichem liskabel v'yeshiyadea b'das borosh hakol b'ashkocha me'Hashem Yisbarach. So we know that tzaddikim, when it came to their time and they were on there and they were in the last minutes in the world, they didn't have any pain. They didn't feel, they were very accepting. They understood that they accomplished what they accomplished in this world and why they came into this world and so on. I was talking to somebody over Rosh Hashanah in Uman. They were asking me, this person has a child that Hashem should protect us all, that went off the derech, and he didn't understand, well, how could this be? He's davening to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and so I told him there's a teaching from the Arizal. There's a teaching from the Arizal that many times a Jew is in this world, and the Jew somehow he falls off the derech. He goes off the derech. He grows up in a nice home, in a nice environment, and he knows the right thing. But then he, so to say, meets the wrong people, gets involved in the wrong things, and he falls away. And sometimes the Arizal says the person will live his life out and not do tshuva, So many times HaKadosh Baruch Hu will send back the neshama into this world again, and send the neshama back into the world and into a good family to get a good education, and then again this neshama falls away. The neshama goes away again to see if this time he'll come back. He'll be chayzer b'tshuva. If he's chayzer b'tshuva, so then he made his tikkun. He accomplished what he had to do. I'm just giving an example, that he was only in the world to make this tikkun. We're all here for a tikkun. We don't know what it is. But when we accomplish what we were supposed to accomplish, so then what are we doing over here? We already accomplished everything. He was saying on Friday night when he was talking, right? He was saying that there was these neshamas that didn't have a connection to Eretz Yisrael, but they were gewaldige people, and they kept all the Torah and all the mitzvahs and leaving it. So they had to come back, and they just had to work the land. And so it's amazing, right? I mean, this is what we're saying, okay? Omikol shekain shamine tzar v'yisur, any kind of tzar and yisur, she'ein magishim klal kisheyesh leidas. Okay, again, no matter what it is, if a person is experiencing financial difficulties, is experiencing health issues, whatever the case is, but if he understands that it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu is designing exactly what he needs for his tikkun haneshama, for his to bring him to his what he needs to accomplish, so then it's a different mindset. It's a different way of looking at something. Oh, look at this.
So he's saying that you may feel the pain a little bit, but it's to bring you to your tikkun?
Yeah, anytime. We know if a person was makabel yisurim me'ahava, so we know that then you say, you hear that on, when you go to a levaya, sometimes someone had a hard life, and you see that, and they say, one of the things they'll say is that the person was makabel is yisurim me'ahava. Right? Because the person understood that it was Meis Hashem.
But it's to move him towards his tikkun. Is that
to bring anything is bringing us towards our tikkun. Anything at all, whatever we experience in life, it's all to bring us to our tikkun. Now, do we? And our bechira is to accept it. That's our bechira. See, we get mixed up. We think that we have bechira, we can choose this, that, and we can choose everything. Rabbi Weinberger, always says bechira is overrated. Why is it overrated? Because whatever situation you're going to find yourself in, and this is the way he explains it, whatever situation you're going to find yourself in, you're going to find yourself in there because Hashem wants you in that situation. Now, how do you deal with that situation? That's your bechira. In other words, a person will wind up in a certain place, in a certain circumstance, a certain situation. How does he view that circumstance? How does he view that thing? That's up to the person. So again, the person's going to have these yisurim. Is he going to say, "Wow, this is Meis Hashem"? And okay, I'll stomach it. I understand, Hashem. This is good. But look what he said over here. The last thing we said now. But many times I'll take away the das, min hashamayim, they'll take away our das, so we should feel the Yisurim, so that we should attain our tikkun. But again, if we understand that, if we understand this really what it is. Now, the Nesiv Shalom, it says, I saw a beautiful thing a while ago in Nesiv Shalom, and he was talking about by Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu is in the Sionis, right? His tests, right? Because we all have our tests in life. These are all the things that we go through. So he said that any time we accomplish a level b'mesiras nefesh, in other words, whatever we do, and we do it b'mesiras nefesh, we exert a little more than. How would you explain this mesiras nefesh? Exerting a little extra. You have a way, David? It's hard to explain. Mesiras nefesh, when you exert extra, you go over a board. You go over than what you normally would have to do. You do something more than you normally have to do to fulfill a mitzvah, right? And it was right, okay. So he said, whenever you accomplish something with mesiras nefesh, that's what you earned. You earned that, and that they can't take from you. No, that they can't take from you. And it was when in Shemayim, like we're saying over here, that they take away the das. If you earn that das, the mesiras nefesh, you worked on it. That's yours. That's mamash yours. Whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us b'matana, that he could take back. There's no such a thing as the Indian giver or something. Like the kids used to say, right? Okay, anyway. Now, but so let's see now. And this is the main tzar that we experience in Golus. This is what Rabbi Katz was talking about yesterday in the Shabbos Shuvas drasha, right? We don't have the covet. We don't feel the covet. We're lost. Hakolu machmas shenaflu me'adas. We lost the das, and this is, I think, what Rabbi Katz was trying to say yesterday. We fell from that das, that knowledge, that understanding, that the covet really belongs to us. But we rather see the world as nature, as happenstances, and mazel, luck, right? We had luck. It was luck. Mazel. Well, look what he says now. And that because of that, the person has Yisurim, because they just feel like I have bad luck. Oh, so if I have bad luck, of course I'm in a bad mood. I feel the pain. But if I have the das and I know it's coming from Hashem, and it's not Mazel, it's not Mikra, and it's Hashem, so then that's a whole different thing. Okay? That's because we live amongst the nations of the world. And today I think we have this more than ever, because even if we live in a beautiful Jewish community, but we have what?
In here.
Here in Efrat, or wherever, any beautiful Jewish community, right? There are beautiful Jewish communities. It could be in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, right? They're beautiful communities. There are beautiful communities around the world, especially here. Yes,
I'm saying even in here in Israel,
yes.
One might think we're not in Golas.
Of course, but again, we have it infiltrates in this idea of the Yakum. Umakma sheroyim she'osam. We see, wow, look how successful they are. Wow, look how good they're doing. Wow, look, they're doing so well in business. They're doing so well. They have so much money. They're doing so well. But we're disparaged and we're lowly. We feel lowly. We feel that way. So now, wait a second. So listen, we have a terrible situation here. So let me see how they're doing. Let me follow their success. Let me go watch some video on how they're on how to do make more money, or how to invest better and all of that. I'll try their way. It's not working my way.
From the time Rabbi Nachman wrote this until now, so much of the Jewish world has followed their way.
Amazing.
Their culture, and they make money.
Yeah.
God, we're probably
But that's why but we know that Rabbi Nachman's Torah is at Bias Goyel said as Bias Mashiach. His I took the Bias HaMashiach. And Rabbi know that the Torah from Rabbi Nachman is really the Torah we need now more than ever. And that's why there's so many people, unbelievable. Because of that we have these Yisurim, because again, they have mazel, and we try to follow their way, and it doesn't always work for us. So then we have pain. Why? It's working for them, it doesn't work for me. But if we would only have the knowledge that it's all Hashkochas Hashem, Hashkocha Pratis, and that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is involved in every little nuance in our life, we would have no Yisurim. But really, we transcend Teva. We have nothing to do with Teva. We have nothing to do with nature. We are above nature. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu took Avraham Avinu, he took him over the stars. He said, look down at the stars. Right? Why? Because we're above nature. Because we sinned. So therefore we fall into Teva because of our sin. The same way that the Akim, the Goyim, they fall under Teva. They're in the confines of nature and Mazel and luck. And that's why we have Golus and Tzar Chatz V'Shalom. V'ikar Hatzar v'Golus Shalem Hu Rak Ayedei Ba'atzmi She'ein Lehem Das V'Tzoylim B'Teva. In other words, the whole problem is because we're depending, we're relying everything on Teva, and it's not working out for us. But look at this. Kadosh Baruch Hu writes L'rachem al Yisrael Ulay Shia Miyagolusam V'Laseis Kates V'Seif Mehameitza Lahem. But when HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, "Oy, my kindlech," he remembers his children. And he remembers and he sees the tzar that we're going through. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to relieve us from our tzar, from our meitzah, from that constriction that we're going through. As I mamshach aleim hashkocha. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends upon, he draws upon us. He sends upon us hashkocha. He sends upon us the knowledge that we can comprehend the hashkochas Hashem, that it's really from Hashem. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes away, puts us in the so to say the protection of the Hashkochas Hashem, which then removes us away from the goyim that they felt they had control over us. And then what happens is their meitzar that falls away. We rise up above them through the hashgacha. So notice, listen, look what happened here in Eretz Yisrael, right? Right, HaKadosh Baruch Hu had Rachmanas on us. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu was able to, even though it made no sense, the whole thing when Israel started, and it certainly made no sense in 67, and then in Yom Kippur, nothing made any sense. But you see how HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought this hashgacha upon Klal Yisrael, and then we were able to be victorious, even though it made no sense al pi teva. And no one will tell you any of the wars Israel fought. Does it make sense al pi teva? It doesn't make sense al pi teva at all, because we're above teva, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu infused upon us this idea of the hashgacha, that we live that way, that we're above them. And now watch what this v'da shezois hashgacha hu mamshich misoif olam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes this das, he takes this hashgacha from the end of the world, which means really the end of time. He says, Ekila Osid, Be'ez HaKetz, at the end of time, at the time that we're waiting any moment, Mashiach Tzidkenu is going to come. Yispata LaTeva Lagamre, there won't be any more Teva. There won't be any more nature. V'layir rak hashgacha levad, and there'll only be hashgacha, you'll see Hashem. You'll mama see Hashem in every situation, in everything. He brings a pasuk from Yeshaya. Here, watch this. Yeshayahu, ki hashemayim ke'oshan nimlochu, v'aretz kebeged tivla. The Shemayim, like smoke, like clouds, will just dissipate, will vanish. V'aretz kabeged tivla, and the whole world will be like a worn out beged. You'll see the whole thing. You'll see it for what it really is. What we thought the success of the Goyim, we thought all of that's success. Hashem will show us it's nothing. It's not. That's not success. Oh, wow. Hainish, he is batal ateva. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to be mevatel this whole thing of nature. You'll see Mamish HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the world. She al pi ma'areches ha'koichavim ma'azolos. Because now everything goes upon the constellations and mazel and all of these things. V'ze'em nimlochu, that's going to vanish. That's just going to vanish. Hainu, she is baal belu, v'yis arbavu, kol ha'mazolos. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to mix up, and he's going to confuse all the different mazolos, and everyone will see that it's really a bunch of nonsense. V'lo yeh shum mazel. There won't be anything more luck. There won't be any more. They wouldn't say, "Hey, good luck." There's no more luck. You'll see the Rebbeinu Shalom, rak hashgacha levad. And then we'll be above everyone. And this is really the situation, how it's going to be, how we will be above everyone when Mashiach comes. This is the secret. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to take away the nature. He's going to take away all of the mazel. And then the world will see that we are taka above nature. We are taka above mazel. And then that's what's going to lift us up. But now, even now, before Mashiach comes, Hashem Yisbarach roitze laseis kates v'soif me'eza akum she'i Yisrael l'mala. What? What do you want to say?
So when it comes out, the Ashgoch is just the opposite to Teva. Like when we have Teva, or we have Teva or Ashgoch, it's like two opposite forces. Kind of
Teva it's a natural situation.
Thing that's set up that works by itself.
Look, Florida is going through this terrible hurricane. What they're going through there, so they just feel it was this part had bad luck, and they were lucky, and this was lucky, and they were not lucky. That's how it makes no sense.
Yeah, Teva and Ashgoch are opposite things. That's
right. The nature, it's Mother Nature. They say nonsense. Yeah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted this place to get a zetz. He got a zetz, and these people were saved.
It's not really opposite. It's really like a veil.
Yeah, it's like
your perception of
set up
Teva
to
is
work
that
like
it's
this.
like that you think that it's. But obviously, it's also
HaKadosh Baruch Hu is running. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is running the Teva.
Right. But the way Hashem conceals
the way we perceive exactly.
And like there's someone. Like I understand the concept. There's someone who removes himself more from Hashem, so that he falls into the
gets guided by that.
Right, but this is the same. No, the wise Rebbe, because this is the same idea. When a person is having a problem, in other words, if it's natural, so then he feels the pain. But if he understands it's hashgacha, so then he can stomach it a lot better, and he sees it a lot better. He sees it in a different light. You understand? You'll see it in a minute. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings Klal Yisrael. Oh, Hashem should do that again for us today, right away. Hashgacha miketz v'soif ha'olam, from the end of the world, the end of time. Sha'oz la'yir rak hashgacha. That's going to only be hashgacha. V'ayvei zois hashgacha nis'alim Yisrael will be raised up. V'nase ketz v'soif me'akum. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu make an end. He'll make an end. Me'akum shahaya meitzara lahem. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu will knock them all down, all the enemies of Klal Yisrael. He'll start probably with the UN. We watched that building just crumble down. It just crumbled down with all those Rishayim in there. All the Rishayim in there. V'zeh bechinas kates ba kates, and that's what the Navi Yechezkel says. The end of time is coming. It's coming to the end of the time. The end of time is coming. That's what the Navi Yechezkel says. Hainish HaKadosh Baruch Hu roitzeh lahavi kates alakam azay mamshech hashgacha mikates ha'achron. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is, so to say, borrowing. I don't know what else word to use. He's taking from the end of time. He takes that hashgacha from the end, and he imports it into the situation that we're dealing with at the current time. Now, with tefillah, this is my favorite part of this lesson here. Hu bechinas hashgacha lemala me'ateva. Tefillah is hashkochen lemala me'ateva. Right? A person can have a certain situation, and we can daven and we can change it. Right? We know HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Geizik Gezeres, and the tzaddikim can come with tefillah, and they can be mevatel the Gezerim. Right? Tefillah can change anything. Tefillah is hashkocha lemala me'ateva, ki ateva mechayev kach. Because according to nature, you need this. It happens like this. How many times you could talk to doctors that when they have patients in a hospital, and let's say chas v'shalom, the person is dealing with the machla, right? They have the machla, and then they're in the hospital, and then the family will ask, sometimes the doctor, what are the chances? So some doctors that they understand, well, listen, with you Jewish people, I can't really tell you because I see miraculous things happen in these cases. I don't know because your power of prayer is so great, and you can mamish change it. According to nature, this person has 6 months, 6 weeks. He'll be done. But who knows? And we know all of these cases. Everyone knows stories that how when you get together and your mamish put your tefillin, your trust in the Rebbeinu Shalom, and your mamish daven like you mean it. Oh, yeah. When you daven rotzen, we say we have a rotzen, right? A rotzen to me so means will. But really, rotzen is much bigger than it. Rotzen means I need it. I have to have this. I have to have this. And you daven in such a way with a rotzen like that. Oh, wow. The tefillah mishana teva. Tefillah can be mishana, it can change the whole way of teva. So here we have it right now. Anytime we can open up our siddur, anytime we want to open up our tehillim, we can mamish tap into this hashgacha, because we can mamish take it and lift ourselves above the teva. V'hu bechinas godol. This is great. Bechinas kimi goy godol asher lo yalekim kroy v'melav kashem elekeinu b'chol kareinu elav. Wow! Look at these beautiful words. Moshe Rabbeinu's parting words to Klal Yisrael. He's reminding us, you're very close to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Just cry out to him. Call out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It can change anything. Right? We were saying that the thing with Moshe Rabbeinu was Chanan el Hashem. It was 515 tefillas, right? 515. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu told the Malachei Asharis that he can't let another tefillah in, because if he adds another tefillah, I'm going to have to give it to him. No more tefillah. Can't have this. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew that Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't go into Eretz Yisrael because of what we were going to get ourselves involved in. It would not work out good for us. It wasn't ultimately good for us. But what do we learn from that? If a person davens 515 times, daven the 516th time.
Yeah, one
more. And listen, people say that they're davening, they don't see an answer. Did you daven 515 times? Did you try that?
Or maybe you just didn't like the answer.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's possible. But did the person daven 515 times?
Daven more.
Oh, yeah. Ki zeh gedula seinu. This is our greatness. This is what our greatness. HaShem is both shemei tefillah seinu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu listens to our tefillah. This is what people don't understand. People go to shul, they go, they daven real fast. Why? Because they don't believe that Hashem is listening to the tefillah. If we really, truly believe that every word I'm saying, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is listening to, the shachas would be 2 hours. It would be 2 hours. It wouldn't be an hour. It would be 2 hours. It wouldn't be 34 minutes. It would be an hour. It would be 2 hours at least. Umeshana teva, and we could change the teva idea hashkachasa yizbarach through hashkachas Hashem k'may shekosav safra no li es hagedulos Hashem osa Elisha. Tell me over the great things that Elisha did. Right, Elisha was dealing with all the problems. Okay, but k'may shamra b'seinu zal zechrein levracha of Elisha da'avad, what he accomplished b'rachmei hu David. He accomplished it with the rachmanis of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All through tefillah. Nimsa. Tefillah is nisim. Tefillah is a true miracle. Is something so amazing. It's hashgacha. Hepech hateva. It's the exact opposite of teva. He bechinas gadol. And that's what's great. Why is it great? Because it's the opposite of teva. HaKadosh Baruch Hu allows us to daven him to be meshana, to change the teva. Now look at these words. V'zeh perish masha heishiv oivei mataya rav ketina. And this is what happened to the witchcraft, the naysayer. I think that was the word we used, right? The naysayer. So what would the
Krantz or whatever.
Or whatever. So some kind of witchcraft guy. He was a witchcraft guy. So what happened over there? So the Gemara, if you look at the Gemara over there, the Gemara in Brachos on Nun Tes, if you look over there, the Gemara is saying that this Rav Ketina was walking on and he passed this store or whatever it was of this naysayer, and there was an earthquake, and the shade was shaking. So this naysayer came outside, and Rav Katina asked the naysayer, "Do you know why we have earthquakes? Why do we have earthquakes?" So look what he said. Ma Goya, what's this thing of an earthquake? Well, why is everything shaking here? What's happening? So he said, "B'shosh HaKadosh Baruch Hu." This is what the naysayer answered. Listen to this. This is what he answered. It's fascinating. B'shosh HaKadosh Baruch Hu zoicher es banav. At the time that HaKadosh Baruch Hu remembers his children, he remembers the problems that we're dealing with. He sees the situation that's going on. Shem shuyim b'tzar bein hakim. How we're in pain amongst the nations of the world, how they're paining us. Moirit shnei demois liyam agadol. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whatever this means, kiviyachol, again, we don't understand what this means, because it's not something physical, but it's something on an upper realm. So we say kiviyachol because we don't understand. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not physical, so how could he have something physical? But again, this is what the Gemara says, so we'll go with it, okay? Two teardrops into the Yam HaGadol. There's a great sea, and 2 drops go in. V'koiloi nishma misoif ha'olam v'ad soifoi. And the voice is heard from one end of the world to the end of the world. And now the Rebbe says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu zoicher, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehem Shuyim B'tzar Bein Akum Daika, specifically was stuck amongst the Goyim. Specifically them, because they're the ones that try to, and that's why the Rebbe was teaching us, and we learned in all the lessons in Likutey before, that we have to stay away from the Chachmas Chitzonius. Right? Because where do you get the Chachmas Chitzonius, the external stuff, from the Akum? He's telling you have to stay away from it, does not learn from them these type of things, because it's going to drive you crazy. You're going to mamish go nuts. Because that's the main problem. That's the main pain. That we're amongst the nations of the world, amongst the Goyim, and we learn from them. And then we lose our knowledge. We lose the connection to Hashgacha. We don't see Hashem. They blind us. They put the veil over us, and we don't see Hashem. We think it's only Mazel. And that's our main thing. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends these tears. Now the Rebbe is going to explain to us what does it mean, the tears. Watch this. HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings Hashgacha through the tears. So how does he bring Hashgacha through the tears? Watch this. Because tears, when we cry, is an aspect of Hashgachas Hashem. That's an aspect of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Hashgacha pratis when we cry. He brings a pasuk from Kehelis. Vishavu avim, and the clouds return achar hageshem, after it rains. Okay, this is what Shlomo Melech writes in Kehelis. Zeh haruus. This is the vision. Shehoylech achar habechi. In other words, because when we cry, then we can't. In other words, if you ever cried, right, and when you just can't see clearly. After the person cried, they don't have a clear vision. It's not very clear because of the tear. Nimsa. So now it means, because in other words, the person saw fine. The person saw very good before, with glasses, without, whatever. He saw very good before he cried, and then he cried. Then he had a distorted vision. He had a distorted vision because of the tears. So we see that really the tear is taking away some of the vision. Make sense? Does that make sense?
But the tear is the hashgacha?
The tear is hashgacha. We're going to see in a minute. Right? No. Let's stay with this so far. The tear, right? We can agree with this. The tear will take away some kind of blur the vision. It'll blur the vision. So that means the tear has some vision in it, right? Because it took the vision from it. It's in the tear. Can we understand that? Right? That's where we are now, right? The tear itself has in it some kind of vision. It took something from our vision in that tear. That's why we got a blurry vision. But then the cloud comes back. Watch this. And the vision is drawn into the tear. Is sent down in that tear. Nimsa. So now we find that the tear is a chelik of hashgacha and vision. He's going to explain now. Because the tear takes some vision. Now he's going to explain the whole situation. He's going to put it together, okay? And that's why the naysayer told to Rav Ketina that the HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends two tears. Again, this is kiviyachol. It's not something physical. HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes kiviyachol, his hashgacha, leyama gadol. He puts it into the yama gadol. Hainu bechinas ha'akam ha'moishlin al Yisrael. Into the nations that in those the nations of the world are the Yam HaGadol. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu sticks the two tears into that Yam HaGadol. Those two tears into the Yam HaGadol. Bechinas HaRishoyim Kayam Nirgas. Right? Vazai Nasa Bechinas Gadol. And then something great happens over there. Bechinas Hashgacha. Bechinas Tefillah. The same we said about Tefillah, right? In other words, because what happens when we have a problem, when we have a problem with the nations of the world, we all go to daven, we all go to say tehillah, we all go to do it. We rely on tefillah, we rely on hashgacha. Tefillah, we just said, is hashgacha. She bechinas gadol, that we said that's something great because it's something that can change the hashgacha. It can change the teva into hashgacha. V'zeh koilei nishma misayif ha'olam v'yatzayfa. And that's the voice that's heard from one end of the world to the other. That's the tefillah that's heard from one end to the world to the other. Hainu shemamshech hashgacha misayif ha'olam miketza achrei. Now, ad sayfa, HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes and he borrows from the end of time this idea of hashgacha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes the hashgacha from the end of time that the world will have so much knowledge of everything is mamash hashgacha pratis. Right? And he takes that velasei seifik kates me'akam hamayshlam b'Yisrael b'chinas kates ba'kates. And that's what the Navi Yecheskel was saying, that the end of time is on its coming. How is it coming? Through the process that's going to happen at the end of time. Any questions so far? He's going to explain now in this paragraph here about the tsar and the mice. So now here we go. Here, this is how it pertains to us. So we know, unfortunately, when someone goes through a tsar, right, when something hurts, so the person cries, right? The person can cry. But we can cry two ways. We can cry tears of joy, and there are tears of pain, right? There are tears of joy and tears of pain. But we also know this. But the person certainly will cry when there's a tsar, because the person's very emotional. When he has something wonderful in his life, he'll cry too. But everyone, whether they're emotional or not, if something hurts, they'll start to cry. Everyone is attached to that one. Right? Is that true? Can we say that? Right? Some people that are more emotional people, if they have a big simcha in the family, they'll start to cry. Right? But not everyone will do it. But if there's a tsar, everyone's going to cry. Everyone will cry. Because the person has this difficult situation and the pain that he's going through. We need hashgacha. So there's, HaKadosh Baruch Hu put into the bria, into the bria that when we have a tsar, we are going to cry, because we need hashgacha. We need hashgacha. This is the reason why we're crying. Watch. Kedei sheyeh lo Yeshua, to bring us a Yeshua. So don't think. So chas v'shalom, if you ever remember when you were crying, don't think that the tears are crocodile tears like they say. I said no, these are real. This is something special. Why HaKadosh Baruch Hu did? Because those very tears can bring on the Yeshua. Those very tears. And we said that what? That the tear when a person cries, the person gets a blurry vision. So that means we said that the tear takes away some of the vision. It takes away some of the vision. The vision is the hashgacha. Right? Because the hashgacha and the vision is placed into the tear, into those very tears that are dripping down. The same way that we said that the clouds return after the Geshem. That's the vision. In other words, after you cry, after the person cried, so then he'll get his vision back again. Right? While he's crying, he has that blurred vision. But when he finishes, after the rain comes, the rain is the tears, so then the vision will come back. So that comes back after the crying. And that's what's covering up the vision. So we see that the ru'us is found inside the dimais, inside the very tears. So far, anyone want to say anything? Any comments on this? Please.
When you talk about the tears and the two tears in the ocean, it just made me think of the tsunami.
Yeah.
No one really knows how the tsunami starts.
Right.
But that's how it starts.
Well. In this context, it was actually the earthquake that brought this on.
The earthquake here.
It was okay, but it's tsunami, the same idea. So some major catastrophe. Some major catastrophe.
Right.
Okay, I guess we could say it like that, right?
Yeah.
So we know when the Navi Yeshayahu came to Yecheskel, and to Chizkiyahu, and he told him that he's going to be leaving the world because of his wrongdoings. He did a lot of wrongdoings, and he told him that. So what happened? Chizkiyahu gave a very, very big cry. He cried for a long time. When the time when he was sick, he had a very big cry. Now, do you see this in the Navi Yeshayahu? He's explaining how Yecheskel had the tears. So you think, what's the significance of his tears? So he cried a lot. So big deal, he cried a lot. Nah, why? When he was crying, he got another 15 years. You know that, right? But in that story, right, when Yeshua came to him and told him that he's going to lose his life because he's going to be dying, because then he cried these big tears, that he brought the hashgacha into his life, and he brought the ru'us, that vision, into his life. Via him crying, he wound up gaining himself another 15 years. Because he did something great. He davened. He relied and he trusted in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he trusted in HaKadosh Baruch Hu was going to listen to his tefillah. Bechinas tefillah, he davened. He davened like he never davened before. He trusted in the Rebbeinu Shalom. He believed in the Navi. He believed what the Navi was telling him. He saw he was sick and he believed what the Navi was telling him. Okay, he believed that he was going to leave the world, but he didn't want to die. So he mamish cried a great time. Bechi gadol, and that was tefillah. V'zeh ma shenema b'David be'esha bocha al tzaroi. And David HaMelech also had more tsar in their life than David HaMelech? Did anyone have more tsar in their life than David HaMelech? David Higdil David, he raised up, he made great, because David HaMelech's tears he turned them into hashgacha. Bebechinas gadol, something great, he turned into tefillah. The tefillah brought him to crying. And the tears are something so special. You know, today people think, you know, we're such macho people, you know, we don't cry, and you know, I can't see, no one can see me cry because I'm so this. But that we're seeing, no, the tears are really what can change the whole situation. And that's why the exile is so big. No, don't cry. People shouldn't see you crying. You have to, anything that's important, anything that is a way out, the exile will just tell you, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that, right? Unbelievable. You know, the Rebbe also says that when we clap our hands, right? L'chias kaf al kaf. So when we're clapping our hands, you can be mevatel gezeirus, right? It can sweeten the mamtik dinim. So that's why you go into some shows, you're clapping. They go, oh, what are you clapping? It's Shabbos, a dish, so they'll give you the whole thing.
You would have been very happy to hear Shira David on Rosh Hashanah.
Why? Hamelech, right?
A lot.
No, but that's a different Indian. That's
What's that in short, briefly? Can you do?
Oh no, so that's just because we're coronating the king.
It's like he's here.
So like when the king, like for example, if a king would come in, so everyone would start clapping when the king comes in. So we're HaMelech. It's mamish unbelievable. If you ever had the experience to be in the clois, when you hear
5,000 people.
Yeah, 5,000 plus people. There's 5,000 plus seats, but there's people standing in all the aisles. Could you imagine? It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
That's just a few of them.
What?
That's just a few of them. A lot clapping.
Oh, yeah, it's unbelievable. And that's why when we say HaMelech HaKadosh, we clap also because the king.
It says something also elsewhere. I just saw it recently. About the clapping hands b'shas tefillah.
Yes.
Yeah,
because you're trying. It's mamtik dinim. It's mamtik dinim. It's mamtik. It sweetens the judgment. It sweetens judgments.
Also gets rid of the demons.
Yeah. Well, that's the same idea. You're getting rid of the demons and sweating. There we go. Okay. Anyway, v'chides ki al yedei hashgacha naitzilim. Mikol minei tsar v'yisurim. So through hashgacha we can be saved from all kind of pains, all kind of troubles. So really we're saying like this. Really, what does it mean that really there's no tsar? The Rebbe says there's no tsar and there's no yisurim when he has his das. When he has his das, when he knows it's all coming from the Rabbeinu Shalom. And then we're also learning here that how could you get rid of that problem? So if a person understands and they cry to the Rabbeinu Shalom, they're not crying to people. See, that's what the difference is. You're not crying to people. You're not crying to the doctor. You're crying to the Rabbeinu Shalom. It's just you and Hashem. And when you cry to the Rabbeinu Shalom, because you're not relying on people, and you mamish put your trust in the Rabbeinu Shalom, so those tears are the tears that can mamish bring on the hashgacha, and they can change the teva. So even if teva says the person has this and that, the other problem what they're going through, and teva says, well, they're finished. They're finished. They can't get out of this chat. This is too much. No, but if you cry to the Rabbeinu Shalom and he takes from the end of time, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings the hashgacha in through the vision that's placed into the tear. When the person, like we said, the clouds, and when the person cries, and then the clouds come back. Because when we cry, so we lose a little bit of the vision. And when we lose that little bit of vision, we take that, what is that vision? That's the vision of hashgacha. That we recognize at that time that it's really Me'ez Hashem, and that's the real das. And that's how we can get our das back, because they take away our das. They take away our das when we're going through the problem. But if we trust in the Rabbeinu Shalom, we can cry, and we can cry real tears to the Rabbeinu Shalom, not to anyone else. That can really bring on our Yeshua.
Is it Rebbe Nachman who says we need to thank Hashem for the
everything? Everything.
Thank you, God, for my
for good. Thank Hashem for this, and thank Hashem for everything. It's all because everything Hashem does. Kol ma da'avid rachmana letav avid. Shkoyah.